All right, I'm back with part 2 of portable printers. About a month ago, I compared 7 portable printers and we looked at quality of photo, size of printer, battery life, and ease of travel. Today, we're going to look at my top 3 portable printers from that comparison and delve into overall cost, including the film or photo paper for each one. And we'll compare my top 3 with one of your top favorite portable printers that you left in the comments. Okay, I'm going to start with my new Instax photo printer. That was definitely at the top of my list because it's the most lightweight printer, and the new Mini Link Plus has a design feature that prints a higher quality photo than other Instax, and I love the vintage style of the film. Now here I'm showing you a couple new film styles that I just got in the mail, and I'll test those in just a minute. But I did want to mention that each pack of film from the Instax printer looks identical inside of the packaging. So a tip would be to keep the box until you put it in your printer so you remember which kind of film is going inside the printer. Here is a quick look back at the film from this new Instax Mini Link Plus. I do think that the quality with that design element of this is fantastic. In this next segment, I am showing you how to open the printer, take out a used cartridge, and then put a new package of film into it. And then it will come out with a dark slide or cover sheet. That's the first one that comes out before a photo is printed. Now I'm printing out a photo from my iPhone and the Instax app. Remember, this film is unique in that it has to develop like a vintage camera's film. And here's a few quick tips to get the best results. Keep it face down or shielded from the light right after it comes out, because direct light exposure during the first minute can affect the final image. This is how I've remedied that, and I may have gotten a few side glances at our retreat when I do this. Now, it says development takes about 10 to 15 minutes for a full stable image, but you will start seeing the image appear in about 1 to 2 minutes. Now, here's a pro tip: do not shake the film. That is a myth from Polaroid days, and it actually can damage the developing chemicals inside, so don't shake it. The best prices that I could find on Instax film were anywhere from 88 cents to over $2 each, depending on which type of film you want. I thought I'd take just a minute to let you know that I'm headed out on another trip soon, so next Saturday's video will be all about how to pack your art supplies with a traveler's notebook, and I'll share my top 7 essentials that I take with me. Plus, a look back over some of my favorite travel journaling with my portable printer photos. Next up are the Kodak Mini 3 and Mini 2 Retros. Again, the film price does vary depending on where you get it, but here is a look at some of the film that is the square 3x3, and you can have a border or no border, and then these are some of the options for the 2x3, border or borderless, and then different frames straight from that printer. Okay, I said I was only going to compare my top 3 plus a new printer I recently purchased, but I'm going to throw in the Canon IV as well, and I'll explain why towards the end of this video. Now we are to my last printer in my top 3 category, and there's a little stipulation here. My Polaroid zip printer is no longer available because it has been replaced by a newer model called the Polaroid High Print Generation 2. Therefore, I don't have a grasp on the quality of this newer Polaroid because it uses a new print technology and not the zinc paper that I showed in my last video. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Polaroid High Print if you have one, and if it would be worth purchasing. All right, drum roll please. By popular demand, I purchased the Liene portable printer Pearl N200 Pro. That's a mouthful. A lot of you in the comments of my last video said that you loved this portable printer, so I thought I'd give it a try and compare it with the ones that I currently own. So let's take a look at it together. Now, I hadn't heard of this brand before you guys all mentioned it in the last video, so I did a little digging into it. The Liene portable printer brand came on the market in 2021, which is pretty much baby years compared to giants like Canon or Kodak. Liene is generally considered reputable, but it has faced some customer service and fulfillment criticism. Their parent company is Hanto Technologies, which is headquartered in Shanghai, China. And reviewers like you generally praise their thermal dye sublimation printers for delivering crisp, vibrant, and long-lasting photo prints that rival competitors' models. Now, the downsides, in my opinion, would be that the weight is heavier than the Kodak and the Instax printers. You would need to bring not only extra film with you on your trip, but also extra cartridges, so that's something to think about. And I have heard that their customer relations isn't stellar if you have an issue with the printer. But I was willing to give it a try and purchased this printer a couple weeks ago. So next we're going to compare all of the printers that I've talked about with this new Liene printer, and I decided to print the exact same photo on each printer so we could compare apples to apples. All right, the first photo is from the Liene, and the second one is from the Canon Ivy. Now, the reason why it has the wording on it is because I could not even get the app to open my albums, so that was the only one with the same photo that I could connect to the printer. Here is the Polaroid. Again, this Polaroid printer is no longer available. And then here is the Kodak Mini 2. Now I'm sharing with you the Instax, and I did use the contact sheet film on this one. Now I want to share that it looks a little bit washed out, but that is probably because I did not put it in my shirt, and the film did probably get exposed to light. So today I reprinted it and did all the right things, and I think you can see a difference here where there's a little bit more saturation in the photo. All right, now we can compare apples to apples. Here are all 5 of the photos printed out, and let's talk about which ones look the best. So on the Canon again, I think that the color is pretty good. I can see a lot of the detail on my dress, but overall it did better than in my last comparison. The only issue was that I could not get the printer app to look into my phone's albums, so I had to just pick this photo from the main recent album. Now the Polaroid looks very saturated and has a pinkish orange hue, but again, this is the older version, so I'm not sure how the new high print Polaroid would compare. Now we are on to the Kodak Mini 2, and this is a larger size than the first 2 printers. So I think it's actually a little bit bigger than the 2x3, and the other 2 are a little bit smaller than 2x3. I do like the quality of color, and I think that the definition in the dress shows up a little bit more. There's some stripes on my dress just for reference, and I think it's one of my favorites. Now here is the Instax again. This is the lighter one that was exposed to light, and I don't have the other one that I just did in this comparison, unfortunately. But I do really like the Fuji Instax printers. I like the film. The photo is a little bit smaller because it's within that film frame, but it's just a fun photo to put in your travel journal, and it has so many options with different film types. Now we have the Liene, and this was very interesting. I'm comparing this to the Polaroid. It's definitely more saturated, but I would say that of all the other ones, the Liene is the most saturated besides the Polaroid. It is also the same size as the Polaroid, so you're seeing here with the Kodak and with the Instax, it is the smaller size of those zinc films. So in my comparison, I would probably get rid of the Polaroid, also for the reason that it's no longer available. And I'm comparing the Kodak to the Liene, and they're very, very similar. I'm not really sure which one I like better. Why don't you tell me in the comments what you guys think? The Liene does look like the door behind me has a little bit more definition and probably better coloring. It's also a smaller photo, like I mentioned before, so I'm not sure if that's something that is a positive or a negative in people's minds. I do see that my skin tone on the Liene is a little bit more saturated, but maybe that's something that can be dialed in the editing portion of the app. So those two would probably be my top two if you're looking at printers that are not the Instax, because on the Instax you don't have a full photo. You can't have it be borderless. It will always have that film around it. I also wanted to mention that it really is not bulky at all. I think in the last video I mentioned that it was a little bit bulky, but it really isn't. It's still very, very thin and on par with the other paper in the other printers. And again, it is the same size as the Kodak, and then the Liene and the Canon are that smaller size. So I have to say that the Canon Ivy, it wasn't in my last top 3, but it might be in the top again, or close to the top. So I would say that these 3 are my new top 3. The Kodak Mini 2, the Instax Mini Link Plus, and now the Liene Pearl N200 Pro. You can find all the details on the overall cost of price per film and cost of printer in the description of this video. I hope you enjoyed this portable printer comparison and would love to hear from you in the comments. If you're new here, I'm Laura, a mixed media artist and host of Art and Faith Creative Retreats, which, by the way, we just opened registration on all 4 retreats in 2027, and you can always check those out on my website at artandfaithcreative.com. If documenting your life in creative ways like travel journaling, traveler's notebooks, and combining your art and faith in creative ways sounds exciting to you, then I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week.